All right, guys. So we had some bad news in 2025. Word is we are not getting that last Ronin movie. However, we do have a nice little early Christmas present for you guys. There is some very violent turtle comics that a lot of fans may have not read because either you grew up or you just never got time to read them. Today we are breaking down the I guess you call them the Urban Legends series here. This is Volume 3. We're here with our good friend Christian from TMNTTALK. So Christian, feel free to give us our own little Shellonomics here, why these are called Volume 3. In, sports and whatnot, like WWE, you have the Attitude Era, the PG Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. And here in the Turtle Eras, they kind of go by volume. So can you explain what the Urban Legends are and why this is called Volume 3?
Yeah, well, after the Mirage run, which were Volume 1, which ended with City at War, then we had a short-lived Volume 2, where they printed the comics in color. And after the ending of that, Mirage Comics were like, okay, we're done with Turtle Comics. Then Image Comics came in and said, hey, we want to do some Turtle Comics. And they started Volume 3. Which was, by the time, it was the official continuation of the Mirage comics. So the Turtles in the Image run were the same Turtles. They had the same origin story. And we also meet some familiar faces. April, Casey, Shadow, all these characters that we met in the Mirage run now exist in this run, which, as I said, was supposed to be the official continuation of the TMNT comics by Mirage. Later on, to jump a little bit further in the storyline, later on, when Peter Laird came back to the Turtles early 2000, he ignored pretty much this Volume 3, and he's like, okay, these are like a different timeline. These are not official continuation, and he did his own thing then. But back then, in '96, these were the same Turtles that we met in the Mirage run, and that's why it was called Volume 3, because it was the continuation of, well, Volume 1 and 2.
Okay, so you're referring to Peter Laird. I believe they're re-releasing his now. Is that the one they were calling Journeys, TMNT Journeys?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was when it started, it was in early 2000, it was Volume 4. And okay. Yeah, nowadays it's reprinted as Journeys by IDW Comics.
Okay, perfect. So we got all that situated. Yeah, what's cool too is, guys, these have been reprinted because these are very hard to find. IDW blessed us with this. I know on our other podcast episodes on Spotify and YouTube, Christian has also mentioned that these, that we never got a true ending, but we finally got one, almost like the Forever War comics that we covered. So these are going to be a little bit darker, a little bit edgier, a lot more blood, a couple cool cameos. One cool city is featured in a couple that I was very happy about. One, I guess you want to say kind of crossover too, with some green fella that I know I have seen before. We're going to get into that as well. But yeah, for those who are missing out on a last Ronin movie, I would say if you can, get these for Christmas, get these to read. You can find them on Kindle. Public libraries have them as well on their apps. I just read mine via Hoopla, and I blazed through them because I couldn't put them down because right off the bat, something shocking happens here. Christian, what in the world is going on in issue 1 here with Donatello?
Yeah, one thing first that I forgot to mention is that when these issues originally came out, they were black and white. They went back to the black and white style.
Oh, okay.
When they were reprinted later by IDW, they were colored, and I gotta say, I really like the coloring there. It's because in black and white, it sometimes gets a little bit very dark, very black and white, and sometimes you get some problems to figure out what's going on. The color really helps. So if you really want to check out these comics, I recommend the reprints by IDW in color.
Especially for all that blood, you can actually it peels off the page. They did a great job coloring these.
Yeah, these stories, these issues, they started in '96. They were like in the middle of the '90s. They were like really, you can really feel this '90s extreme style. Everything's got extreme and heavy and gritty and dark. And they really went there, starting right with issue number 1. Right off the bat, Donatello gets shot. This is the first page. You see Donatello getting shot, and he's bleeding and he's hurting, and we find out that the turtles, they were celebrating their 18th birthday when they get attacked by a bunch of cyborgs and a female ninja named Bimiko. And they attack the turtles. There's a big fight, and Donatello and Splinter, they get captured by this mysterious gang, and they fly off in a helicopter. And then when they take off, like Donatello tries to escape, and he falls out of the helicopter, and he's like, "Oh my God, he's like 100 meters in the air. It's like, oh, this is gonna hurt," and he starts falling down. During all this, Raphael, by one of the cyborgs who was supposed to be dead but came back to life one last moment, shot Raph in the face with a laser gun and melts off half of his face. He looks like Two-Face. And that's pretty much the first issue. That's just the first issue. It's like, okay, they're not kidding. Turtles getting hurt left and right, and wow, that's it's got really dark and gritty there. Yeah. That was just the first issue.
Yeah, they have, and I think we mentioned so, but they do have all the red masks, so that they didn't go with the '87 series. They wanted to have this own, just a hardcore universe, just like vintage, I guess, Turtles here. And yeah, first page, Donatello blasted. We grew up with the '87 show with maybe 1 million bullets that they dodged, right, from laser shots and gunshots. They never got hit, and then here, bam, right on the first page. And yes, Raphael is seriously injured as well. So what were your thoughts reading this? Because I didn't get to read these until, 3 days ago. So did you get to read these back as a kid?
I remember that I found the first few issues at the comic shop. It must have been around 96, 97, or maybe a little bit later. But I was in Vienna back then with my school, and I found this comic shop, and they had these comic issues, and like, oh, these are the black and white ish comics and this. So I started to check them out and was like, whoa, these are not the turtles I remember from my cartoons. And immediately was like, okay, that's different. These are really these dark and gritty comic turtles that some people are talking about. Now I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was reading some of them back then, but most of them I got to later in later years. But yeah, I got into them, and yeah, that was, I think, around the year 2000 or somewhere around them. I was finally able to read all of them. And yeah, the 23 issues that at least came out.
I mean, these were, to me, these feel like rated R. I mean, I know there's no F-bombs and extreme, like, heads getting chopped off. Man, this is, like, literally getting shot and blood is pouring all over these pages. I mean, I'm scared. Dude, I'm reading these, and as you break down issue 2, I mean, I wish I was dead was written. No feeling below the neck. It's like, my God, what is going on here, Christian, in this? Break down issue 2 for us.
Yeah, in this issue, we meet the big bad in the background for this first story arc. That's called Lord Komodo, who is, who is like the leader of the cyborgs and the female ninja and her group of female ninjas, because there are some more of this Kunoichi. And Splinter is his prisoner, and the turtles, they look for a new lair because, well, the lair got found by the cyborgs, and they find a new place to stay at the mausoleum. And they try to find out, hey, where are Donnie? Where's Donnie? Where are Splinter? And Leonardo is able to find Donnie through the astral plane. When he tries to meditate, he is able to reach out to Donnie, and he finds him lying in an alley because he fell out of the helicopter and his shell is smashed. As you said, he is paralyzed. He can't move. He is lone and lost, and it's really, dude, this gets dark. And yeah, okay, we gotta find Donnie. But then, well, the Kunoichi Bimiko come back and they attack the turtles once again.
And you know what's interesting about these two is the writers did a fantastic job because at the end of every issue, you want to read the next one right away. It's like those nice cliffhangers. Like it's almost like you see that to be continued, from a great soap opera or like a nice TV show. So, yeah, dude, I was blown away by this. And now they're talking about Dragon Lord, but I could be wrong here. But this is not the Dragon Lord we know from the Next Mutation because I believe he was called the Dragon Lord, right? Wasn't he the main villain?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. You're right.
Okay.
But the Dragon Lord from Next Mutation that was 97. So
Yes.
this Dragon Lord, Lord Komodo, was the original Dragon Lord.
Yes.
But no, there's no connection there.
Very good. Just to try and give people a vision in case you're thinking Dragon Lord. It's like no, it's not the one with that little pet that runs around and has that crazy deep voice that really didn't even fight the turtles. He just kind of stood around most of the time. Kind of like Shredder in Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. So, anyways, though, we've got just Donatello again in issue 3 just trying to survive. I'm curious now. You love all the turtles, like you said. We're gonna have to ask people to check out some comments down below or even join Christian's Discord because I want to hear from Donatello fans about this series, how you liked Donatello in this one because he got the crap kicked out of him pretty much the whole run.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, whoa, he really yeah, if you think about it, in a lot of the comic books, it's Donatello who gets, well, pretty much into trouble and gets hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, if I think about the Archie comics, when I remember when he was taken over by the Turnstone and got all power crazy,
Yes.
or in the IDW comics, when Bio and Rocksteady almost killed him, they smashed his shell in. It was always Donatello. It's like, poor Donnie. What does everyone have against Donnie?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let him live.
Even with the Batman crossover with Bane too, that one he was causing trouble. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The same thing. Like, poor Donnie.
Oh boy, yeah, and it just gets worse for him now in issue 3. It just gets crazier and crazier, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look at the original cover of issue number 3, where we see like the turtles fighting a shark man and this shark man biting down on Mikey. Like, wow, what's going on? It's like this cover's like, oh, I want to know what's happening in there. So yeah, in issue 3, we see the Kunoichi. They attack the turtles. There's a big fight, and turtles are able to get out of this. And we also find out that the turtles have an air car, a Triceraton air car that apparently Zog left behind, the Triceraton that got stranded on Earth, and Donnie found it way back and hid it. So the turtles have now a flying car, which is pretty cool, and they try to find Donnie, which they do, but all that they find in the alleyway is a skeleton in a turtle in a smashed turtle shell, and they're like, oh my god, is this really it? Is Donnie dead now? And once again, as you say, this is the cliffhanger of the issue. They're like, oh, okay, now I need more. Just imagine this issues, they came out monthly, and you have this finale like Donatello is dead and it's over. Okay, you have to wait 1 month. Like, oh dude, you cannot do this to me. But yeah, they really know how to keep you reading with these issues.
Yeah, and Raphael's gonna start getting a little crazy now too with what is this, because I want to say this is the first time they did this take, and it was were you as shocked as I when you started reading into Raphael's story here?
Yeah, it was Raphael, as we said. Sorry.
Yeah, with his storyline in this whole run, I didn't see this coming at all.
Yeah, with Raph, I mean, his half of his face got shot off, and he's like, yeah, as I said, he's like Two-Face. He's like his half of face is burned, and he started wearing a Casey Jones mask to hide his face, which an old mask by Casey, which was pretty cool. I think I like this design, and yeah, it's also it's pretty interesting. And yeah, this shark man, I forgot to mention that in this issue was a prisoner by Lord Komodo, and well, he got free and he confronts Splinter there. It's like, not really. It's not a shark mutant. It's some kind of super creature. But yeah, it's yeah. There's just so much going on. I don't know where to start, where to end. It's just really they're really all these parallel storylines, and with these stories, it's always. I really had to check out each issue again because I know the storyline overall, but all it's like not like one issue is one story. These like continue from one issue to the next. I mean, there are story arcs, but it's like, okay, next issue, next issue. It's just going on. It's just one big storyline. So yeah, as I said, it just gotta keep reading because it's not like, okay, I read one comic and now I'm done with the story. No, you always want to know what happens next. It's one big storyline, and yeah, that's just that's just so cool.
And it's going. I mean, I think there's maybe one or two comics as we get down with like where it's more kind of like how I always view Star Wars Episode 2, like more dialogue instead of action. There's like maybe one spot, but pretty much for the entire podcast and just while you're reading these comics, they're at 120 miles per hour, just no stopping, just none. I mean, especially pretty soon we're gonna get into Mikey's little oopsie with somebody he was trying to take care of. But feel free to take us through issue 4 here.
Yeah, here we have like the fight between Mako, the Sharkman, and Splinter, where it's really this cool scene where Splinter punches Mako in the nose because he remembers from Jacques Cousteau that sharks have a very sensitive nose, and yeah, because Lord Komodo is also like a cursed soul. He's a normal man, but he's like got this curse from his bloodline that turns himself into like a Komodo dragon sometimes. And that's also why he wants to know more about mutants and so on to find out a cure for this curse. And yeah, well, the turtles, meanwhile, they find out, remember there was a skeleton in Donnie's shell, but they find out like, wait, this skeleton that's lying there, it has 5 fingers, and we know turtles have 3 fingers. So it's not Donatello, but Donatello is gone. So what's going on? They try to find out. They have no clue. So, okay, I guess we have to find Splinter first. So they go to Komodo's castle. And then we see, nearing the end of this issue, we see a mysterious cyborg walking around near Komodo's castle. And it turns out that that cyborg is actually Donatello, who got turned into a cyborg. And once again, big cliffhangers like, oh no, I am the cyborg. What's going on here? And well, that's the end of issue number 4.
God, yeah. I mean, read off the bat, Donatello's dead. I mean, we're like, wait a minute, we're only in issue 4 here. Wouldn't this be like something that happens at the end? We have to go through all this pain and suffering so early. I still can't believe the writers, had the guts to do this. I mean, it's really hard to do. I wonder. I'd love to get one of the writers from the show on here. If you have any shows, let me know, because I just want to hear like what inspired them to say, you know what, we're going to take a chance and just ride with this. And coming up in the next issue, whenever you're babysitting somebody, don't play video games late at night. That's all I got to say. Feel free to take us away in issue 5 here.
Well, issue 5 is the finale, gotta say, for the first story arc here, where the turtles, they attack Komodo's castle to get Splinter out. And also in this issue, we got a conversation between Splinter and Bimiko, and she tells Splinter that she is actually the daughter of none other than Oroku Saki, the original Shredder. And like, oh, okay, that's also very interesting. So once again, they attack Komodo Castle. There's a big fight with the Kunoichi to save Splinter. And also during all this craziness, one of the Komodo dragons that Lord Komodo has gets injected with some mutagen and turns into a giant Komodo dragon who also attacks the turtles. So there's one big fight there. And then Donatello comes in as a cyborg and he starts shooting everyone. Well, the bad guys at least. He goes really Rambo style, crazy. And well, but he saves the turtles, and the turtles, they like send Splinter away, like, okay, Splinter Sensei, go away. But Komodo was already experimenting on Splinter, and the turtles, they then go after Splinter through a secret passage through a cave, and suddenly in front of them appears a giant mutant bat. And the turtles find out, like, wait, that's Splinter. He got turned through the mutagen experiments into a bat, and he's he pretty much lost his mind. He's like feral, and he flies away. And the turtles like, oh no, we lost Splinter, but at least all four turtles are together again. And this closes off the first storyline of this run.
Oh, try and take a deep breath if you got some tea to just calm down. I still am in shock that we're talking about this, and I just again finished reading these. Today was the last day I read them, but my God, what was going on through your head reading these, man? I mean, especially you got a feel for Donnie here, and Raphael's got a lot of torment, and now Splinter looks like the Man Bat from the Batman animated series first episode.
Yeah, I mean, these were just the first 5 issues, and they're already so much different. As I said, the Image Comics, that came in and said, okay, we're gonna change it up, like. In all the runs of Mirage Studios, of course, the turtles got hurt sometimes, but it's not ever like they lost a limb or something. Like, okay, in the end, everything turns out fine. And they were like, hey, no, we're gonna do something different. Turtles gonna lose. Turtles gonna change. Turtles gonna turn into cyborgs, getting almost killed and losing limbs and getting mutated again, like Splinter. There's really so much going on, so much happening. Like, this makes this whole run so different, so special. I gotta say, like they just did what they wanted to do. Like, okay, we're gonna do change. We're gonna try something new. And I always say I like when people try something new with the turtles. And here they just did. Okay, we're gonna really go crazy. And they really did. And it was like, okay, it's a lot of change. But if you read the whole story overall, like, okay, they were really going somewhere with this. It's not like they were not just maiming turtles to shock someone. I mean, it was shocking, but they really wanted to tell a story. Like, they are warriors, they are fighters, and sometimes they get hurt, and sometimes they get hurt bad. So yeah, this makes this whole run, in my opinion, very special and very interesting.
And they really embrace the teenager too, because as most teenagers are, they have very short fuses, and you can see, pretty much all four turtles act a little bit more rash in this too. Just like the anger gets the best, like they're not as patient, they're not as disciplined as we know them in other series. They really embrace the teenager attitude in here. So, feel free to take us away in the next story arc here.
Yeah, this is the story in issue number 6 where we meet Casey Jones. He comes in, and yeah, the first thing is when he goes to meet the turtles in the sewers. He sees a cyborg fighting with the turtles, but it's only Donatello who's training with his brothers. And Casey attacks the cyborg, attacks Donatello, and for a moment the cyborg, the AI, takes over and it almost shoots Casey, but then Donatello is back, like, okay, whoop, this was just a mistake. So, okay, Donnie and Casey, they're fine again. And yeah, then it's like April and Casey, there are a couple now, and they want to go on a date. But Casey, as we remember, has an adopted daughter, Shadow, who was a baby way back in the Mirage comics, but now she's like a few years old, like 2 or 3 years old. And and they ask Mikey if he can babysit her, which he does. So I mean, you see from the start, you get the feeling like, okay, Mikey loves this kid. He's all over her. He loves her, and he takes care of her, and they play video games together, and he reads her a bedtime story. But then Mikey falls asleep, and Shadow sneaks out to play some more video games. But then suddenly she gets dragged away by someone. And once again, this is the cliffhanger ending of that. Like, okay, what Shadow? No, what happened? And yeah, that end of issue number 6.
Yeah, don't play video games with kids and let them stay up later than you, because it's funny. I used to do that. Just a quick story here. So, my cousin and brother and I, we were trying to beat, I want to say it was either Mario Brothers or something late at night. So, we went downstairs and the clock on the microwave was wrong. We're like, hey, look, it's 7 in the morning because it showed 7 o'clock. So, we're up there, we're playing, yelling and screaming. Aunt comes upstairs. What the hell are you guys doing up? It's like, Auntie, it's 7 o'clock. No, that microwave clock's wrong. Get back to bed. So I understand. I just went back in time reading that with good old Shadow there. But yeah, dude, the issue coming up next, I mean, it appears, I want to say Casey Jones has a chainsaw and he's about to beat the crap out of Donatello and everybody. Because again, even though he's not a teenager, we all know he's got a short fuse too. So what in the world happens next when, Shadow's gone?
Yeah. Oh yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention is that Casey has a new mask. He has this this American flag style mask. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, in issue number 7, we find out, or the Turtles find out, that it was the Foot Clan who took Shadow, and Raphael is the one who's like, okay, I'm gonna talk to the Foot Clan because he tells the others that he has some connections with the Foot. Like, okay, they were our enemies, but we have a truce with Karai, remember? And so we can like maybe accept each other, like work together sometimes. And so Raph goes to the Foot Clan to talk with them, and the Foot didn't know. Yes, they had they were the ones who took Shadow, but it was because of a guy, a mob boss called Tony Buzzarelli, who says that she is his granddaughter. So they kidnapped her for him. And Raphael finds out about this, and the Foot Clan says, okay, we're sorry about this. You can get her back, but you've got to kill Tony you got to kill Tony yourself. So Raph sneaks in, but he's not able to do it. He sees that Shadow is there, but he's not able to kill the mob boss. And the Foot Clan's like, okay, you failed. And they cut the rope where he tries to climb up again. And he falls, well, apparently to his death. And that's the end of that issue.
Like I say, it's really hard to just even take a deep breath as everything is going on. And there's a lot of violence with these guns, too, because I believe someone else is going to be getting shot very soon. Feel free to walk us through the next issue.
Yeah, this is like in issue 8, we see Raphael falling down, but I mean, once again, he's getting hurt really bad, but he's able to not get killed, and he is able to get back to get back home, and Mikey is able to bandage him up, and he tells Mikey where Shadow is. So Mikey is the one like, okay, I'm gonna get her back. Meanwhile, Donatello is looking out for Casey because Casey got really angry with the turtles because his little baby got stolen, and he started drinking, and well, he got really drunk, and he ran into some guys, and he wanted to blow off some steam, beat them up, but then Casey got shot by one of them, and Donatello helped him and brought him to the hospital, so he's gonna be fine. But Mikey, meanwhile, is able to go to this church where Shadow is about to be baptized by this mob boss, and Mikey is able, ninja style, to sneak in, get Shadow out, but the mob is like, we're gonna get her back, so they're like, not like, okay, we're done here. No, they really want her, because, as I said, Shadow is the granddaughter of this mob boss, but Mikey gets her back to Casey and April, and so yeah, that's the end of that story. So that worked out fine in the end.
Yep. And as you know, I am very picky with my Michelangelos, and these guys did a fantastic job from start to finish. Remember, now this was before Next Mutation. Like I said, Mikey had his own like podcast radio show, and here as we continue, he's got another little side hustle that he does here. I thought it was pretty cool. So more into that later. But coming up next, we have, I guess, a little pinch of Batman and a little pinch of Robin in. As the Turtles go to Midway City, which is home of the White Knight, I believe is someone we're going to cross paths with here.
Yeah, that one. When I first read it, I was really confused. Like, okay, is this Batman or is it not?
Yeah.
No, it's not Batman. He looks like Batman, but it's another comic book hero called the Night Watchman. But he's very Batman-esque, I gotta say.
Yeah.
And yeah, Leonardo goes to Midway City, because there were some bat sightings, some very giant bats, and Leonardo thinks like, hey, this could be Splinter. Let's find Splinter. So he goes to Midway City. He runs into the Night Watchman there, and apparently there are some mutant bats in the city causing trouble, and Splinter is also there, and he is the one who is he's biting people and turning them into like bat creatures. So the Night Watchman and Leonardo, they're working together to save these people and to get to Splinter. But once again, in the end, they are able to save the people and turn them back into humans. But Splinter is able to get away once again. So yeah, that was that little side story.
Yeah, it almost reminded me of the Ninja Turtles Batman crossover, because there is that one page where Leonardo's trying to get the antidote in the Splinter. And if you remember in the movie where Batman turns into like that man bat with the mutation, Mikey has to hit him with like the antidote. Remember that spot?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. There's some parallels there, I gotta say.
Yeah, and coming up next was one that I got goo goo gaga for, and I posted this in your Discord. When I see Welcome to Chicago, I'm like, whoa, no way! They went all the way on this. We talk about, there's a lot of cool stuff with Chicago in here. They even got like the graffiti that's on like the Blue Line trains, which is very accurate, not the the designs, but that's kind of how some of the spots are out here. I had to make sure I was very happy about this. And there's somebody here who, he looks very familiar to me, which I don't know if this was like a crossover or if this was his debut, but I want to, hopefully you can give me a little explanation on our Jolly Green Giant friend in this issue.
Yeah, in issue number 10, Mikey and Raph, they go to Chicago because there were some killings, which are called vampire killings. Like some people were like sucked dry and left for dead. So Mikey and Raph go to Chicago to find out if there's some connection with Splinter, and they run into the Savage Dragon, which is, well, pretty much an old friend. And the Savage Dragon is like this dragon human-like police officer who is a character in the Image run. So yeah, this is like, in the next few issues we meet some other superheroes and supervillains who are characters from the Image Comics universe. So yeah, now the Turtles, they really entered the Image universe. This is like this. You can imagine like the Turtles when like Marvel would do some Turtle comics, and then they run into like Spider-Man or Iron Man. And so this is like here where they run into the Savage Dragon, which is one of the main comic guys in the Image world. And yeah, later Donnie and Leo come also to come with the air car there, and together with the Savage Dragon, they find out that the killer, the vampire killer, is not Splinter. There's no connection there, but it is a guy called Johnny Lee Rayburn, who is calling himself now Death Watch, because he was a criminal who got sent into space, and he apparently ran into some kind of space creature that like took over his body, and they fused. And now he is Death Watch, and he wants revenge for all the people that did him wrong. Like he attacks a judge who sentence him to, well, pretty much to sentence him to death for his crimes, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's pretty much where we leave at issue number 10, where the turtles like find this Death Watch creature, this Death Watch guy, and like, okay, there's a fight coming up.
Yes, and I would like to say too, it's a fairly accurate statement. When I believe it's Raph or Donnie when it says, "Come on, all I want is beer, 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 and maybe a stuffed pizza. It's against the law to visit Chicago and not get a pizza or at least a hot dog." And they're true. We do have very good pizza and very good Chicago-style hot dogs. Now, real quick, I don't know if you know this, but Chicago-style hot dogs out here, Christian, you cannot have ketchup on it if you want to consider it a Chicago dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what do you put on a hot dog?
Yeah, so I'm not a big onion guy, but usually they call it the works. So you have a little bit of mustard, some relish, some hot peppers, some onions, and that's your Chicago-style hot dog. So if you ever do make it out here, there's two delicious places. One is Gene and Jude's, which is a really good place, and then there's also a place called Super Dog. So if you're ever out here and you're in my neck of the woods, I will gladly treat you to both, just so you can get a taste of each, because what's cool about Gene and Jude's is they actually put the fries on top of the hot dog. So it's almost like a stuffed pizza. You can take the fries off if you want, but it's just so delicious.
This sounds so good.
Yes,
It's
yes.
really. I would try it. I would definitely try it.
Yes, I will. I will send you a couple Instagram shots later tonight just to get your palates a little soaked. But dude, coming up next, there's a lot more than kissing going on here with and the other Archies and April give a little smooch here and there, but this is just crazy what goes on with Mikey and I believe a chick named Sarah. I believe in this next issue here.
Yeah, in issue number 11, like Mikey meets up with this girl called Sarah Horridus, who is some kind of lizard creature. I'm not that into the Image comics, so I'm not totally sure here. But they hook up. They watch some TV together, and then they pretty much fall over each other and start making out. So okay, hey Mikey, good for you. And meanwhile the other turtles, they have a fight. Oh no, I think it's only Leonardo and Donatello. They're with the Savage Dragon, and they are fighting with Death Watch. There's a big fight. Then another hero from the Image Comics called Vanguard comes in and helps the turtles. And in the end, Death Watch is seemingly killed, but Death Watch was attacking Donatello, and he sucked out his life form from his cyborg body, and it seems like Donatello is gone. There's only the cyborg left. The cyborg AI is left, and Donatello, his mind is gone. So is he dead again? I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I just again, just how crazy this series has been. And we're not even halfway done. Well, we kind of are if you're close to counting the originals without the bonus 3. But feel free to break down the next issue for us here.
Issue number 12. Yeah, this issue starts off with this issue came out in '97, so Next Mutation was already a thing, and I think they did a little wink wink nudge there. Yes. When at the opening the turtles meet a female turtle, and Mikey is like, wow, that's cute, a female turtle. But it turns out to be an alien creature called Large, which is a changeling. It can change into everything, and okay, that was nice.
Yes.
And but it turns out that Death Watch is actually alive. He just escaped again, and he went back to his hometown, which is like this little rural city, is a little town. Meanwhile, Raph is back in New York, and he visits the Foot Clan headquarters. And he falls right into the middle of a war between the Foot Clan and the mob, because, the mob is really angry with the Foot Clan because they betrayed them after the whole thing with Shadow. So, they start shooting up foot ninjas left and right, and Raphael is caught in the middle of this, and he's gonna get into trouble, I guess.
Yeah, and there's going to be a return of a familiar character. This was the. I want to say this was probably. And Donatello getting shot was one thing. That's a big shock. But if I had to pick on the ranking list, which was the biggest surprise, is the end of the next issue you're about to break down.
Oh yeah, issue number 13. This is a big one because it starts off with Raph fighting the mobsters, and he's really, really doing well. Meanwhile, the others find Deathwatch in his hometown. It's once again, it gets a little. I get a horror vibe there with the whole thing. Like there's a lot of corpses and dead people in this town, and there's nobody alive. But then Deathwatch comes out and attacks the turtles again, and yeah, and then Deathwatch is able to like attack Donatello or the cyborg, and he's like almost kills him, or it seems like he kills the cyborg too. But getting back to Raph, Raph is fighting these mobsters, but then he falls into a secret chamber where he finds some armors left there by Shredder, some Shredder armors, and suddenly Shredder reappears. Like suddenly a Shredder jumps out of the shadows and attacks the mobsters, fights them, kills them left and right, and we find out that this Shredder, is actually Raph, who just put on one of the Shredder armors, and he looks pretty good in it, I gotta say. And he really kills these guys left and right, and with the bloody claws on him, it looks this is dark, this is gritty, this I like it.
Yeah, I just can't believe that it's coming to fruition. It's going to get even crazier as we continue our journey here with our next issue here. My goodness, dude, this has been. Thanks again for having the energy. Just because, I guess the biggest phrase though is still when Donatello couldn't feel anything below the neck. That got the hair on my neck to stand up. Now, what so far was the part where your hair on your neck started to stand up? Like, was there any, when you were just reading, these lines? Because, again, we're used to cowabunga and party, dude, and, bodacious, and even in the, Archie, weapons at the ready. Well, the weapons are ready, and they're going to use them, but they didn't use them like this, man.
No, it's like, this whole thing with Donatello is really one of the craziest, because, as you said, at the first, he gets shot, straight on shot, and he almost dies there. Then he falls out of a helicopter, almost dies there. Then he gets turned into a cyborg, and this is just almost too much. Come on, leave Donnie alone. It's and now we have Donnie he's gone, his mind is gone, there's only the cyborg left, and it's it gets crazier and crazier. But I gotta say, this moment here with Raphael, when he was putting on the Shredder armor, I never would have expected that. And I gotta say, the original cover for issue number 13, where we see just this Shredder standing on the cover, and he's got this red bandana in one hand, and the armor is totally bloody and everything. This, I gotta say, is one of my favorite Turtles comic covers ever, because it's oh my God, what happened? Shredder is back? Did he kill one of the turtles because he's got this bandana in one hand? And this is just too crazy. This is just at least a bit too much. And yeah, it's I mean, just to get back to what a big shocker was in issue number 1, when Raph gets shot in the face, and at first you don't see it, but then he turns around and he says, "Does it look bad?" And you see half his face melted off. It's whoa, dude, this is really, really something else, I gotta say.
Like good old Dorothy says, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. My, feel free to break in the next issue, my dude. This is just, woo.
Oh yeah, issue number 14, where after Raphael as the Shredder was able to defeat all these mobsters. Then the Foot Clan, or what's left of Foot Clan, come out of the shadows, and they're like, "You saved us. You're wearing the armor, and well, you're pretty much worthy of it." So they like ask him, like, "Hey, we are leaderless. We are leaderless. Raphael, can you lead us now?" And Raphael actually says yes. And Raphael becomes pretty much the Shredder, and he becomes the new leader of the Foot Clan. Too crazy. So yeah. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have Donatello. The cyborg is pretty much dying because it's got like a big hole in his chest from the fight with Deathwatch. But it seems like Donatello's mind is not really gone, but it's somewhere else. So Donatello is still somewhere. And well, gotta find out what this means. Back to Raphael. Raphael and the Foot Clan, they are running across the rooftops. Splinter, still as a bat, sees them. And he sees like Raphael in Shredder armor, and he remembers like the Shredder somewhere in his mind. He remembers the Shredder as a demon, as the demon that haunts his dreams. And he attacks Raphael and, yeah, seemingly stabs him. And once again, that's the end of that issue.
It just gets nuttier and nuttier. But what is nice about this run, too, is we do get to see a couple characters that we haven't seen in a while. And one, because, again, this is before the Tales of the TMNT came back. So we get to see the return of a nice little kitty cat. I was touched at the heart when I got to see that little guy hanging with Mikey again in the next issue.
Yeah, in issue number 15, like the turtles, they're back at the turtles lair, and Donnie's body is stable now. They have like Donnie in this stasis tank. And yeah, as you said, we see Clunk is also fine. Haven't seen him in a while back then. And so Clunk is there. Mikey takes care of him. So unfortunately, he's fine. And we also see that Splinter is at the Foot Clan headquarters. He got caught after the fight with Raph, but Raph is also hurt. He's not very well. And then, like, Leo is looking on the astral plane for Donnie's mind that's left there, and he finds Donnie, but Raph is also there because he's sick and he somehow was able to reach the astral plane. And this whole thing then leads, like, they get separated again, and it leads to a Freaky Friday scenario where all the turtles, they get switched into different bodies. Like Leo is in Raph's body and Donatello is in Leo's body, and but like Donnie as Leo, um, he's like, I'm gonna free my real body, and he destroys the stasis tank, and somehow this like switches everyone back, because now Donnie's mind is his body is free, his mind is free, and they finally find together, and then everyone gets back into his real body. Donatello finally is back again, he's alive, but Leo says that he knows where Raphael and where Splinter are, so they're like, okay, we have to go to the Foot Clan headquarters, and that's gonna be the next issue.
God, I kind of feel like Donatello's almost like Kenny from South Park, where he just keeps trying to die and he stays alive. It's like the fifth or sixth time he's supposed to go, and he doesn't go. He's almost like a Teenage Mutant Ninja cat. I mean, he's almost got 9 lives in this one here, because it's heartbreaking to see, because again, I've never seen a universe like this where one of the turtles might be gone. Eventually we get there with the last Ronin, but this is 30 plus years ago, give or take, in the past, that we weren't used to stories like this. So here we go again, though. Someone's going to be putting on some armor, and it gets a little bit crazier here now too in the next issue with Donatello's new, I guess, like cyber armor stuff.
Yeah, it's like throughout the series, he's like upgrading. He can like change his armor some more, and he learns some new tricks. Like he can change his hand into a weapon and stuff like this. But yeah, Leo, Don, and Mikey, they go ninja mode and they sneak into the Foot Clan headquarters. And yeah, because they want to save Raph. But it turns out that Raph was not in danger. Raph is the Shredder now. And okay, so we did not have to save you. So they laugh it off and everything's fine. So now they're like, okay, but there's one thing missing, and that's Splinter. So we have to get Splinter back, and we should try to find Splinter's mind. We go back to the astral plane and then find to Splinter's mind. So they do this, but they find Splinter's mind, but it's still confused. And the turtles, they fight Splinter in their mind. And yeah, and it gets really crazy. And in the end, Raph does actually stab Splinter in the astral plane, like his mind form gets stabbed in the astral plane, and but if Splinter's mind dies, then Splinter is gone for good. So once again, we're left there like, okay, dudes, Splinter, he's dying. We have to do something, and yeah, that's once again the cliffhanger ending of issue number 16.
Yeah, I just can't believe. Just again, they did such a great job with just saying dun dun dun. So feel free to dun 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 into the next issue here.
Yeah, that's issue number 17. And very soon in this issue, very early in this issue, we find out Splinter is okay. Splinter got saved. Splinter is back to normal. He's not a bat anymore. He's a red sensei again, and we see he's fine. And but Leo, there's a new threat because apparently some kids were got killed in the sewers, and there were reports of a giant alligator attacking the kids, and of course the turtles immediately think of Leatherhead. So Leo, on his own, because the other turtles are busy, he goes into the sewers to find out about this whole thing, and he actually finds Leatherhead, but Leatherhead is caught. He's tied up, and it turns out tied up by a giant mutant Komodo dragon who, well, attacks Leonardo. And yeah, that's issue number 17.
And I do like to, even the Image comics also do like, the little notes like, see TMNT Volume 2, Issues 1 through 5 if you need to get more on our new friend Komodo here. So I always like how they... Now, do all comics do that, Christian? Because again, I'm still kind of a noob when it comes to comics. Like how they put like, if you want to read more. Because again, this is before Google and Wikipedia. So where else were you going to find your research but reading those old issues, right?
Yeah, I mean, IDW also does this when like there are some callbacks to earlier stories. They're also like, hey, if you want to know more, check out issue number this and that. So I guess the comics still do this, and I mean, when a series goes on for a very long time, it's very helpful to have this because you cannot always remember something that happens like 20 years ago. So like, okay, I can go back there and check it out for myself. So yeah, I'm always thankful for like this little information bits there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you want to just go back and dig a little deeper. Yeah, I thought it was great seeing Leatherhead, and yeah, he'll still be around for the next issue here. Leatherhead's still hanging around.
Yeah. In issue number 18, we find out that this big Komodo dragon is not Lord Komodo, but King Komodo, who was the Komodo dragon that got mutated in issue number 5. And he's back, and there's a fight with Leonardo. And yeah, because Leonardo was fine so far, but not anymore, as King Komodo bites off Leonardo's hand. His left hand, and yeah, King Komodo is also even able to get Leatherhead on his side, and so Leonardo is alone in there, and he's fighting like the giant Komodo dragon and the giant alligator, and It gets really crazy. But then Mikey and Casey Jones, they come in because they felt like, hey, maybe Leonardo needs some help, and they find him and like, okay, we're gonna help you. So there's a big fight. King Komodo in the end escapes. Leatherhead gets back to normal. He's cool again with the turtles, but like there were some other Komodo dragons that were with King Komodo, some normal, not mutated Komodo dragons, and they get killed during this fight. And so Mikey and Casey are like, okay, so these we can like tell the people that these are the creatures that killed the kids, because there's like $10,000 for everyone who kills this creature in the sewer. So like, Casey can really use the money. So they like, okay, we're gonna bring these to the police to get the money. So yeah, that was that little fight with King Komodo, I gotta say.
Yep, and then we've got some more friends that we know. Well, I don't want to call them friends, but some familiar faces coming up in the next issue here.
Yeah, because immediately a new story starts. Is issue number 19, where the turtles are just hanging out a bit at Leatherhead's place, and we find out that there is an Utrom also there called Dr. X, who was apparently left back on Earth. And together with Leatherhead, they try to rebuild the transmat again to reach out to the Utroms. But yeah, so they're working together. We're gonna finish it, and they are able to do so. But something goes wrong, and the transmat it starts up, and brings us, as you said, some familiar faces. As through the transmat device, some Triceratons beam in, and yeah, so that's definitely gonna cause some trouble here.
Yeah, we might as well get into the next one right away because now we're hanging out in space. So again, just like you always say, the turtles they can go anywhere. You know, we've been in New York, we went to Chicago. Let's go to space for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as I said, the Triceratons they beam in, and they also like find out that there's like this air car, like Sock's air car, and they beam there as Donatello is flying around the city, and suddenly a Triceraton appears in the air car, attacks Donatello. There's a fight. They crash into the into a museum. There's a fight there. Meanwhile, Splinter gets attacked by Bimiko. So she's suddenly back again, and she fights Splinter, but Splinter is able to stop her. And all this while, Leonardo goes to Raphael to ask him for help because, hey, you've got the Foot Clan, you've got some trained ninjas, and well, we've got space dinosaurs now, so we could really use your help. And yeah, but at first Raph is like, hey, I've got my own things to do. But later on, it's like, okay, I'm gonna help you with this. And yeah, which pretty much leads us straight into issue number 21.
Yep, and what's interesting too is again in these little lines here, Raphael talking to himself. He's doing it again, making me look bad in front of the clan. It's why I kicked him out in the first place. But this time he's right. So a story that we really didn't know about was Leo was, I guess, in on this Foot Clan stuff. And also, we haven't really mentioned her name yet, but this does, again, like Christian said, takes place after the Mirage in Volume 1 and 2. You know, Karai's still around somewhere, guys. You know, we're curious where, but, you know, we've been trying to figure out what's going on with Karai, but they have thrown her name out a couple times, and we will get to her. Don't you worry. Feel free to go with issue 21.
Yeah, which starts off straight where the last one left off, like the Turtles and Casey Jones and Leatherhead, they fight the Triceratons. There's a big fight there, and then some foot ninjas come in as Raphael helps them. And yeah, then during all this fighting of the Triceratons, Leatherhead gets caught in the transmat and he gets beamed away and to who knows where. Nobody can say where he got teleported to. And so, but the Triceratons, like they shut down the transmat, the Triceratons, they're gone. So, like this little mini invasion is over. So far, so good. But back at Foot Clan headquarters, Bimiko walks up to Raphael and she's like, hey, I'm the daughter of the Shredder, of Oroku Saki, the original leader of the Foot Clan, and I should lead the Foot Clan, not you. So she confronts Raphael, and yeah, that's pretty much where issue number 21 ends.
Now, you say you're a big anime guy. Does that give you Dragon Ball Z vibes right there? Where you're like, come on, find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. No, I want the fight now.
Yeah, but if it was Dragon Ball, it would have been, there would have been more issues, because after 21 issues, the fight is not, the one fight is not over.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, thank God we didn't have to wait long, especially for those who had the full collection. You know, whether it's from your library or the nice IDW reprint. Feel free to get us into 22.
Issue number 22. Yeah, we have the big fight between Raph and Bimiko. And Raphael is able to win. But Raphael refuses to kill Bimiko because there are some Foot Clan leaders there. It's like, okay, you've won, you've got to kill her. And Raph is like, no, this is not what I'm doing. This is not my Foot Clan way. So then they're like, okay, but there is another. Like, okay, what's going on now? And suddenly there's a new contestant who confronts Raphael for leadership of the Foot Clan, and that is a mysterious woman in a Shredder armor calling herself Lady Shredder. At first, Raph is like, okay, Bimiko, what are you doing? But she's like beside him, like, this is not me. So who is Lady Shredder? And what? So she attacks Raph, and yeah, once again, we're like, what the shell is going on? Find out next time.
Well, I had a hunch. I mean, before we get into it, who did you think it was? I really thought it was Karai. I'm like, I have a hunch who it's going to be. Who was your first guess before we reveal who Lady Shredder is? Who was your guess?
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, like, I was the same here. It's like, okay, I guess it's Karai, because Karai were the Shredder armor before, so why not again? And it's like, we have not seen her in the series. And but she was mentioned that she disappeared, she left the Foot Clan, and nobody knows where she is. And so, of course, the first thing you think is like, okay, it's Karai. It can only be Karai. But yeah, we're gonna find out, maybe.
Yeah, feel free to break that one down. Yeah, that was my first guess. I had to throw it out. Like, I have a hunch who this is going to be, but were we correct? We'll find out.
Yeah. So in issue number 23, which was the final issue way back in 1999, the Turtles, they are celebrating the 19th birthday. So in universe, like 1 year was over. And yeah, it turns out Raphael is caught by this mysterious Lady Shredder. So the Turtles, the other Turtles and Bimiko, they're like, okay, I guess for now we have to team up to save Raphael, to save the Foot Clan from this Lady Shredder. So, well, pretty much we have a big final fight with the Foot Clan, with Lady Shredder, and in the end, Raphael is saved. Lady Shredder escapes. Still, we don't know who she is. But for now, the Turtles and Bimiko, they call it truce. Like, okay, hey, we don't have to fight now. Like, try something new, try a new team. And Bimiko is pretty much fine for that now. So yeah, so now they go to celebrate the 19th birthday. And with this, the original run, the original 23 issue run ended. It was not supposed to end back then. It was just, yeah, it got canceled because it did not sell well enough back then, as far as I remember. So yeah, this story was unfortunately ended there with, yeah, I gotta say, with a pretty big cliffhanger. And yeah, that was the original Volume 3 run.
Yeah, so before we get into that real quick, how did you like Mikey being a writer? I mean, even Oprah Winfrey, I didn't say Oprah Winfrey, but Oprah was a fan of his book. How'd you like Mikey's character with being a writer on the side?
I always like it when they show Mikey's more creative side. If you remember, like in Mirage Comics Volume 1, we had one issue where Mikey was writing a story.
Yes.
So it's cool that the Image Comics, they really came back to that and made more of it, because there was not much that the Mirage Comics did with this side of Mikey. So I was really glad that they like brought it back. This show, like Mikey has this creative side. He's a really smart guy. He can create stories, and as you said, people loved his book. It sold really well, and uh, nobody knows that a mutant turtle is behind it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. And how did you like how they treated every turtle? To me, this gave me, I want to say 1990, Steve Barron movie vibes here. And the reason I say that is because each turtle had their own character development and their own story. It didn't feel like, like a lot of people say the second movie, The Ooze, was more Raphael because he got kidnapped. Turtles 3 was Mikey here. Everybody had their own thing going on. Donatello's pretty much a cyborg. Raphael's got this thing going on with the Foot Clan. Mikey's doing his writing. Leo's trying to help out, splitting with the astral plane and meditating and going through a lot. So how did you like how they took care of each turtle in this run?
I thought it was really good because, as you said, like each turtle had his moment to shine. Each turtle had his own storyline, like and all the things that, to be honest, I did not expect. Like Donatello, okay, got turned into a cyborg, and he had to work with that. And yeah, at first he gotta say, kind of un-Donatello-like when he got pretty brutal. When he shot down all these ninjas as a cyborg, he got a little bit crazy, but he calmed down later on and he got better control of his cyborg side. Uh, but Donnie is the tech guy, so being a cyborg, it works for him. And yeah, Rev got his connections with the Foot Clan, and in the end, he even became the Shredder, which was totally crazy. Mikey with this whole thing with Shadow and like trying to find a family. He even had his like this little basement apartment under April and Casey's place where he was for his own when he needed to be. So like you really get the feeling that these characters, they are growing up, they are changing. They are like at the start of this series, they're 18, now they're 19. So they're growing up. They're not really teenagers anymore. They're becoming adults and they're starting to find their own life. They're finding their own way in life in this story. And I gotta say, the Image Run really did this well to show a more grown-up Ninja Turtle side.
Yeah, and to quote a friend of ours, holy unsatisfying ending, Batman. The final words of this in the 90s was, tomorrow will show the Foot Clan what a poor decision it made today. And that's it. We're done. We don't know who, like you say, we never found out who Lady Shredder was. Was it Karai? Was it not Karai? Was it, April? Was it somebody we have no idea who they are? That's it. But IDW was inspired to bring this back, and if you read the reissues, it says never the end. So feel free to share any knowledge you have, Christian, why this finally got the ending it deserved with 3 extra issues.
Yeah, IDW started reprinting this series. It was called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Urban Legends. And they reprinted this whole series, this whole 23-issue series in full color. And they did a really great job. I really like this. But when they started this, they were like, hey, we're reprinting this story, but we reached out to the creators behind this series. And we gave them the chance to do 3 more issues to finish the story. And this is like amazing. Like, as you said, it was over 20 years later, we finally got an official ending to this series with TMNT Urban Legends number 24, 25, and 26. And like, it was the original artist, it was the original writer. They got back together, they created like a story. I mean, it was not like way back in the 90s. They were like, okay, we're gonna only do 26 issues. They wanted to go with the series as long as possible, but now they had the chance, like, okay, you did 23 issues, and now you can finish your storyline. And they took the chance. They said, okay, 3 issues, we can do this. We can finish it. And yeah, in 2020, finally, as I said, over 20 years later, we finally got an official ending to the Image Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series with Urban Legends, and I'm forever grateful to IDW that they did this, that really did this series justice, and were able to get an ending that really worked, in my opinion.
And it blends so well because I'll be honest with you, if you didn't tell me that these were, 20 years after, I would have kept reading it like it just happened because the artwork looks pretty much identical to what it was. They did a great job with that. The writing and the bubbles were pretty much the same. Feel free to take us away in these issues here. And would you have noticed a difference? Because again, you're much more into comics than I am. Did you feel anything off here? Like how they do remakes, they kind of go off course where it's like, no, I used to like the old animation. Why are you doing this? So was there anything that was off-putting to you when you were reading these?
Not really, gotta say. I mean, if you connect the or try to look at them side by side, like the older issues and the newer issues, you can see some difference there in the style. I mean, it was 20 years later, so of course the artist it changes its style a little bit at least. But here they really were able to emulate the original style, and as you said, it really feels like the same. It really feels like, okay, this is not like someone else took over the series or anything and made its own thing. It's like, no, these are the same people, and you can really see it. You feel it in the storyline, you feel it in the characters, and you see it in the art. So it's really, there's not much of a difference. A little bit if you look closely, I gotta say, but not much there. Like, it's the same. It is really like, it's like 20 years have not passed. It's like, okay, it just came out, like, I don't know, maybe 3 months later or anything, but yeah, it feels like it's the same.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. So feel free, because now we're finally going to get one of the characters that we just talked about to appear in this comic, but we'll see what she's all about in this one.
Yeah, in TMNT Urban Legends number 24, the Turtles meet Karai. Yeah, she appears and she tells the Turtles that she left the Foot Clan for her daughter. If you remember, in City at War, her daughter got killed by the Foot Elite way back then. And it turns out that she did not really die. She is still alive. She's brain dead, but she's still alive. And Karai, yeah, took she just took care of her daughter for the last like few years, or for the last year. And it also turns out that Lord Komodo appears again, and he and Lady Shredder, they work together. And then we find out that Lady Shredder is actually the cyborg AI that was a split off of Donatello's cyborg AI, and it took over the body of Amai, who is Karai's daughter, and because she was brain dead, so the cyborg AI could control her body, and this became Lady Shredder. So yeah, once again, after over 20 years, we finally find out who Lady Shredder is, and it was definitely not who we expected.
Oh, it was a very good show. Now, I wonder if that's, there's got to be an interview, so I wonder if that was the plan all along, or if because it was 20 years, after like, maybe we could change it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be Karai. But I do like how Karai is still ready to go. Like, hey, when it gets tough, you'll see, guys. In the next issue, it's just she still got it. She hasn't lost her steps, so in my opinion, too much. So feel free to break down the next one out of this the second of 3.
Yes, as I said, like, okay, there's a big shocker. Amai Karai's daughter is Lady Shredder, and but Karai tries to talk to her like, "Hey, you're my daughter. You're fine. We can make this work." But well, Lady Shredder does not think so, and she stabs Karai. During all this, we also find out that Leo's hand that got bit off is starting to grow back because of the mutagen, because of his mutant psychology. His body is starting to grow back. So yeah, it's they are healing. The turtles are healing, and we find out that Lord Komodo and Lady Shredder, they work together because they want to create an army of cyborg and mutants to like be invincible. And for the experiments, King Komodo is also there. They caught him and like experimented on him with his mutagen and so on and so forth. And also Donatello, with the help of Dr. X, the Utrom, is able to lose most of his cyborg body. And he also starts to heal to become his normal self again. But for the final fight, the final confrontation with Komodo and Lady Shredder, they have to go to their headquarters, and which they do at the end. Like, okay, time for the final fight, and yeah, that's at the end of Urban Legends number 25.
And then there is one more to go, my friend. And just again, I know it was a little updated, so I doubt they were going to say this, but I just got to say this line because that's where we're headed. You know, there is a line in this one in issue 26. I am AI. I am the future. Feel free to take it away.
Yeah, pretty creepy if you think about nowadays with all the AI. Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, as I said, there's a big fight. The turtles, they attack the bad guys. And yeah, during all this, the turtles, they're able to find like this laboratory where all these cyborg creatures are held, and they have like this nanobot technology, and they use it to destroy all these cyborgs. Meanwhile, Lord Komodo, he's also in this fight, and because of his curse, he gets turned back into a Komodo, normal Komodo, and he gets killed. So that's the end of that story. And the turtles, they also use these nanobots on Lady Shredder, who, as remember, is a cyborg creature, and it's able to like destroy her from the inside. So Lady Shredder dies, and she's also gone. But we also find out that Karai is still alive. She's like in the stasis tube, and she's healing. And King Komodo is able to, because he's like connected, he was connected to Lord Komodo, and he becomes the new Lord Komodo. Like, okay, I can transform into this form to take over the whole Komodo, um, this whole what's it called? Like this whole industry that Komodo has, and he and Bimiko, they're like, okay, turtles, we are fine. We have a truce now. We're gonna do our thing, and you're gonna do your thing. We have a truce. The war is over. It's cool. And the turtles like, okay, we are healing. We are fine again. And now we need to relax. After all this craziness that went on, we need to relax. And the turtles, they go to the farmhouse for some relaxation. And with this final moment where we see the turtles, Splinter, and even Clunk going to the farmhouse for some resting time, to chill some time. This is the final moment that we have in the series. And with this whole series comes to an end. Finally, it comes to a, in my opinion, a satisfying end. It really like, okay, that storyline is over. Who knows what will happen next to the turtles? But we're done with the Volume 3 image run.
Yeah, and we got it done in one show here, dude. What's your biggest takeaway from this part of the Turtles history here?
It's yeah, it feels really 90s style. Like I mean, the Turtles, the Mirage comics, they were the original black and white comics. They were dark, they were gritty, but Image comics, like they really like, okay, we're gonna take this and we're gonna do it like 200%. We're gonna do it more. We're gonna go dark. We're gonna gritty. We show the turtles getting hurt, and still to this day, like people remember like this storylines were like, oh yeah, I remember this was the part where Donatello got turned into a cyborg, Raphael became the Shredder, Splinter got turned into a bat creature, and so on and so forth. And like, yeah, it's really something special. And as I said, when it started, it was supposed to be the original, the official continuation of the Mirage Comics universe. But now you can say it's like, okay, this is a different timeline. And yeah, because hey, in the TMNT multiverse, everything can happen, everything can exist at all times. And yeah, this is like I remember that not all people were happy with the way this was going, because it was like some people felt it was too much too fast. Like everybody, boom, 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 got hurt, got hurt, got hurt. This change, so much change all at once. But looking back at it now, it's like, okay, but it's really got some really interesting storylines, and it always kept you reading. You always wanted to find out more, what's happening next. And it really worked very well as that, because most of the Mirage Studios run, it was like one comic was one story, or like two or three comics that were like one story arc. And so this is over, next one. But this run, it was always continuing. It was always one big storyline. It felt, I gotta say, it felt kind of manga-like, because in manga, you see, like you have the story arcs, but they always like, when one story arc is over, it like goes straight into the next one, and it feels kind of like this. And I think it's really cool. It works really well, and I like it. I always liked the Image comics for what it did. Yeah, it was very dramatic, very drastic sometimes, but as I said, I always like it when they do something different with the turtles, and different they definitely did with this run.
And how did they get away now? I don't even think, was there a code for these issues? Like I don't think there was a Y7 at that time. Was there a 93 when you were reading these? I don't remember a comic code anywhere for all the blood that was being spared and this being thrown around.
Not that I remember that was anything like this. I think maybe there was like a mention inside the issue, like this is made for mature readers or something like this, but nothing official. There's nothing on the cover or anything to like warn little kids like, wait, this is not the cartoon turtles that you remember.
Yeah.
So no.
Anything you would have done differently as we start to bring this issue in for a landing here in regards to episode for a landing with this whole Image run?
Hmm. Um. I think one thing that I can think of is like, as the turtles like were integrated into the bigger Image universe, like when they met a Savage Dragon or all these other superheroes and so on and so forth. It was cool. It was cool, but I think I could have worked without that, because it felt so. It was a big change, because the Mirage Turtles, they were their own thing. Of course, they had some crossovers, they meet some other characters and so on and so forth, but they were always their own universe. And suddenly they are in this bigger universe with the Image comic superheroes. And this is it's like, okay, the turtles, like when they need help, they like can call Savage Dragon or Spawn or anyone else, like to team up with them to help them with a bigger threat or anything. It it's not like I have a problem with this, but it's like I could have done without this. Like I would not have needed all these other characters from the Image universe Like the turtles, they have their own universe. It was always like this, and it felt so like drastic. Suddenly we're in the same universe, we're the same timeline. These are the same turtles, but suddenly they got shifted over into a different universe. It felt a kind of weird. It worked. It was fine, but if I would have, if I would have to change something, I think it would have been this that. Uh, I would not have needed other all these other image universe characters. I could have done without them. As I said, it was cool, see the Savage Dragon and everything else, but I would not have needed it for the turtles.
Yeah, kind of like an Usagi Yojimbo, right? Just have them in for an episode or two, let them, make their, hey, cool, easier, and then have them be the end of it instead of having it like in every episode. No, I get you with that. The one thing I wanted to get rid of was, I forgot to mention, is when Raphael is fighting Pimiko and he does a Three Stooges attack. That was totally unnecessary for him to do a little yuck yuck. That was not needed. This was a seriouser approach to Turtles, and we've talked about it before. Comedy, you got to pick and choose your spots. That could have been nixed. And I thought, again, to read Donatello just is dead a couple times. It almost seemed comical to a degree just because it kept happening. Like he would get mad and he would start fighting again. But kudos to the writers here in regards of making this a very, very engaging read. This is one which is nice for readers because it's simple, right? There's only 26 issues. You can probably read these in 2 or 3 days, maybe one if you really wanted to just binge read through them all during a day off during the holidays. But it is one I encourage fans to read. I would encourage you not to miss this one. They're fairly easy to get in regards to the internet searches with, Kindles and other ways to go. So, Christian, I guess, what was your favorite? We've talked about shocking moment. What was your favorite moment? For me, I was a bittersweet dude. I was just happy seeing Mikey and Clunk because, again, we're doing these. We kind of bounce around on Shellonomics, and we know, spoiler for those who don't know, Clunk passes away in the Tales. So just to see him back, it was kind of cool. It was almost like finding like an old VHS tape of you and your grandma, at a Christmas dinner or something. Back in the 90s, like, oh, cool. I'm in the TMNT archives here. So what was one of your favorite moments here?
Yeah, I like that too. When Clunk came back, one moment that I always remember, which is more of a funny moment, but I just love it, is the moment when Splinter was back to his old self, and he was hanging out at the lair. He was watching TV. That was before Bimiko attacked him, and Splinter is watching TV, and is actually watching South Park. And Splinter watching South Park is just something that's so out of left field, but I love it. I love South Park, and to think like this sensei, this ninja master, this old wise man is watching South Park. I don't know. It just makes me happy, and I just love this moments when Splinter is doing something that seems out of character, but it works. Why can't Splinter have fun? Why can't Splinter watch goofy TV? Let him have his fun. This is just something that's ingrained in my brain forever. Splinter watch South Park. That's canon.
Because everywhere else he was watching soap operas. This Splinter, again, it was more. Even that was actually kind of setting the tone if you think about it, Christian, just because they were going for an edgier, extreme show. And the soap opera was the comic itself. Splinter didn't need to watch soap operas. He wanted to be more extreme too. So that's going to do it, guys. Just again, if you are in Chicago, I highly recommend checking this out too, because they even mention a quick little joke with the Chicago Bull. The Bulls were dominant in the 90s. They had a little Easter egg like that in the Chicago issue. Christian, for those who don't know, guys, Christian is loaded with comic book podcast episodes of his own. He deep dives into a lot. What's on your channel, and where can people find you? What do you got cooking in the end of December here?
Oh yeah, with the current run, there's just once again, as I know I always say that, but IDW is putting out so much stuff nowadays, just so much TMNT comic stuff to talk about, and that's exactly what I'm doing on my own podcast, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Talk, that you can find on, well, pretty much everywhere, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or whatever, wherever, especially on my website, TMNTTALK.com. check it out. You can also find all the social media there. And yeah, and also the Discord. I know I always say that, but hey, the Discord is pretty cool. We're good people there, and we want you too. We want all the turtle fans to chill out, hang out, and talk turtles. And because that's what I just love to do, I'm always up for someone to talk turtles with. So yeah, check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the talk.
As always, I love at least I try to post it there once a week, if not more, just with the turtle meme or something crazy that we find while we're doing our podcast here, getting our own Shellonomics. So Christian, as always, dude, it's been a pleasure. We hope to have you back on real soon. And like you say, until next time.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to it.